Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raymond Skinner, and I'm the chairman of the DCHA Stabilization and Reform Board, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Stabilization and Reform Board being held today, June 11th, 2025. This meeting is being held via Zoom, video conferencing, and the board is here in person. Some of the board is here and some of the board is virtual. The time is 1:01 p.m. At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to allow for some personal reflection. Thank you. Again, this is our regular meeting of the board, and we invited members of the public to sign up to speak via our website, or those who would just like to view the meeting can do so via the DHCD website linked to our Facebook Live page. The Board of Commissioners welcome constituent input on matters of concern and offers the public today an opportunity to express views during the public testimony portion of this meeting. However, we require that members of the public who attend our meetings abide by certain rules of decorum to allow the board to complete its business. For this virtual meeting, DCHA asks that you remain muted until you are instructed to speak. Members of the public cannot engage in any disruptive conduct or loud, threatening, or abusive language during our meetings. This includes any loud outbursts or shouting during times when you have not been invited to speak. Anyone who violates these rules will be removed from the virtual meeting. Serious or repeated violations of the rules may result in your being barred from speaking at future meetings. However, we do appreciate your interest in the business before us today, and I want to thank you in advance for abiding by these rules of conduct. At this time, I'd ask for a roll call to determine if we have a quorum.
Sure. Denise Blackson.
Present.
Thank you. Rosa Burbridge. Mr. Burbridge, I see you on the screen. I think that was you.
I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you. Leroy Clark.
Present.
Thank you. Jim Dickerson. Ronnie Harris.
Present.
Oh, Ronnie Harris, thank you. Katrina Jones.
Present.
Thank you. Chris Murphy.
Present.
Jennifer Reed. Teresa Silla.
Yes, present.
And Chairman Raymond Skinner.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our May 14th, 2025 board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So let the minutes stand as presented. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the report from our Executive Director, Keith Pettigrew. Mr. Pettigrew, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, the first two items, if we also give some touch on utilization of both the public housing side and the voucher side. The public housing increased up a little bit over the last month. I know Carolyn, who's now had a little more than a month to get around the PMO operation, has ramped up the outreach with regard to the units that are available and trying to find families that match up and that want to actually take these units. As I indicated in a previous board meeting, that we're probably really going to see a much more positive response to these units, because a lot of folks are turning them down right now. They don't want to live in certain areas and that kind of thing. So we're looking forward to the wait list preparation, and we're going to talk more about that with us, our subcommittee, operations subcommittee, at the next subcommittee meeting about a schedule for the waitlist opening and other ideas that not only Commissioner Sealer, but others have talked about in terms of how we do those wait lists. It is going to be site-based, which is, I think, is extremely important in terms of helping us identify people that want to live at certain properties. But more importantly, it's going to allow us to refresh the list with people because this list is probably getting very stale by now, given the fact that we're so low and people are still turning units down. So we're going to need to refresh it. And so we're excited about the process. We're working behind the scenes with IT as well as our consultants to make sure that we prepare correctly, and we will be coming back to the board, obviously, and the subcommittees with ideas and updates and plans going forward.
So in terms of timing, do you anticipate that the wait list will be open by the end of the year, by the end of the calendar year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we shouldn't wait for that. We're shooting for the end of actually the fiscal year.
Fiscal year,
Yeah.
okay, that would be October.
Yes.
Okay.
I just had a question about the 1,218 applicants pending unit offers. I didn't know, precisely, what does that mean to pending unit offer? That like they've been termed eligible?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly that. Determined eligible waiting for offers to come, or offers may have been made.
Okay, so we have, so of those people fairly soon, they will either take a unit or decide to decline a unit and move on. I mean, I guess they get 2 bites, yeah, 3 bites. of the
Actually,
apple.
actually get 4. We get
Yep.
two letters and 2 phone calls.
Yeah, you know, I told them that. Okay, but that's, and then those are resolved, and we get to keep going on the wait lists, on the remaining.
Yes.
Right.
That's great. I mean, it's compared to what it was a couple of years ago, it's pretty amazing the progress that's been made. Probably a fair number of folks have just fallen off.
Right.
the list.
We've had a lot move over and had vouchers.
Yeah, I
They-
think about
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
That's what some of them are waiting on too. Some of them may be on the wait list and or have a voucher and they're just waiting to try to lease up. And then they'll fall off because we found a lot of that going on.
It's great. It's great that we're making progress on this. Thank you.
On the waitlist side, I mean, the voucher side, obviously, the numbers are increasing. We're at 95% for federal, which is really good. We had 91%. We took a little dip in the LRSP, which I'll talk about a little bit in a minute. And then the DHS MOU vouchers have increased. So I'm pleased to see that increase on that side of the house, given the challenges that we encountered when we first got here. On the LSRP side, as I mentioned, we have met with Ms. McShane and Mr. Wasenick and several others. I can't remember their names, so forgive me. But those were the two that initially reached out to us with regard to sitting down and working out and a more improved process in terms of coordination between us and DHS.
Okay.
In terms of how we reduce that time frame for local voucher lease up. We had another meeting this past week on Monday to talk about planning and preparation. And then we're scheduled to have a meeting next week with individual Sydney Ratliff, who we recommended to actually facilitate the session for us to talk about how we go about, looking at what the problem points are within that process and resolving them so that we can all be on the same page. And Commissioner Sealer, they mentioned your name as they rightly so said. So I told her, I said, you already told me you're gonna be a part of the process. That's she already told me we're good. So
As a facilitator, right? That's what-
No,
not just
no,
part of
as
it,
the
you'll be part of it.
No, this is as part of my role as director for the Interagency Council on Homelessness, not as commissioner for this board,
Okay,
but as someone who is responsible for ending and preventing homelessness in the district.
So we're looking forward to it, getting this done. They're extremely excited. I told them I'm excited too, because, at the end of the day, if you can't get excited about trying to help people, then you got a problem, So we're in really good space.
but this has been a pain point for us for a while.
Yeah, it has. So, a couple of things I just want to sort of highlight, that are coming down the pipeline. So as part of the whole HUD closeout, you all recall, we put together a landlord fund. Right, to be able to allow landlords to be able to apply for funding if their units were, damaged by some residents. So we've selected a vendor, CNHED, won the award. They've done some of that work before, but I'm assuming that, I don't know whether that had anything to do with the selection. I was on the selection committee, but they have been selected. So we're looking at an implementation and start date of August. So we're behind the scenes now working out the process and the forms and that kind of stuff. So, but the fact that we got somebody on board now, we're going to be moving forward. We're going to meet with the the landlord associations to talk to them about the process, get their feedback so that once this thing kicks off, you know, it's seamless for us. So excited about that. One other thing I do want to bring up, the oversight hearing, the last two anyway, Councilmember Fruman had brought up square footage with regard to rent reasons.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's focused on that. And I understand his concern. And we've shared with him as well as Chairman White's office that, you know, HUD doesn't mandate it. You know, we meet with HUD once a week. And so we've also talked to Laurel about it, and she agreed with us that, hey, it's not a
Laurel
mandate.
is-
Laurel Davis, she's our HUD field rep.
Okay.
And so just to share with her, because if it comes up, you know, we want her to be aware as well. We don't want her to be blindsided by anything. And so she sort of agreed with us that, hey, it's not mandated, but that, you know, she would have no problem talking to council member or anyone else about where HUD stands on this issue for right now. So just so you all know, so that's out there. I think that's it. All right. Any questions?
Just on that note, what you just mentioned, so what's the feedback we're getting now on the whole rent reasonableness? Is it, I mean, it's generally accepted now, still a lot of some issues.
No, it's pretty, I mean, you know, once it got implemented and we got through those growing pains,
Yeah.
you don't hear much from landlords anymore. And the feedback from us has been fairly even. Once in a while, somebody would challenge it, but that's far and few in between.
Are you done?
Yes. Any questions? Sweet, man.
From any of the commissioners who are virtual, any questions for the executive director? I see some shaking heads, so that's a no. Okay.
I did have one question, and maybe it's for next time. In the monthly report to the board at the end, the chart, the occupancy rate chart by property, and we had a meeting, and I think some commissioner maybe wasn't familiar with that was there, so I wanted to say that it is there, and I appreciate it. I do wonder if something's a little off on the chart because it shows the percent occupied at 95% for every single property. And it just, I'm guessing that's just a mistake.
It is when they, so there's a row missing. That's the actual goal. So it
That's
sounds
the
like when
goal,
they
right? That's
hit,
what,
hit
yeah.
some columns,
Yeah.
that we'll get that.
So maybe just going forward, it
Yeah.
would be
And
helpful.
it's generally there, so they must have hit it or changed.
Yeah, I was surprised because I was like, I always glance at it because what's interesting to me about it is you have a number of properties that's very high and a number that is very low,
Right.
you know, and then
Yeah, I don't know how that,
not a lot of.
we'll correct it.
Great, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I just see the columns off because occupancy goal is now to the right, so we'll get it.
And actually, just maybe one other question. Are we now done with the DHS FRSP initiative? Are we through that?
No, we're not. So the sunset date is the 30th of June.
Okay.
There are only 3 people left to be processed, right?
Correct.
We have 1297. So 3 other people have to be processed. But remember now, once they get the voucher, even if it's past the 30th, they still get the lease up.
They get their voucher for the 90
duration,
day,
120.
120 days. Yeah, okay. And it seems like the take-up rate's been pretty good.
That's great. Yeah. So you're only 3 left. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the next item on the agenda is our comment period, testimony period. And we're going to start with residents and then the general public. Each person who speaks will have 3 minutes to provide testimony on whatever issues are of concern. And we will be keeping time, and hopefully you can keep to within the 3 minutes. And we're going to start again with residents who want to provide testimony.
So first I'm gonna call Rochelle Ellison. And it's *6 to unmute. You will get a email or a message to be promoted so that you can speak. So I'm gonna give a second. Rochelle Ellison. I'm going to move forward. Former Commissioner Kenneth Council. Kenneth Council. The next, yep, is Sabina Warren McCullum. Once again, *6 if you have not received the notice to be promoted.
I'm here, Sabrina Warren McCollum.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Ms. McCullum, you have 3 minutes.
I would just like to address the fact that my housing specialist, who is Cameron Isaac, has been very, very assistance to me. He doesn't respond to emails with any of my concerns, no phone calls, no nothing. I just received a letter about 2 weeks ago stating that I would be losing my voucher due to me not returning in a packet, but that following Monday, because I received it on a Saturday, following Monday, I went down to 702 H Street North West with the receipt showing that I had turned in my packet and the person that had taken it from me that day. As of yet, no one has reached out to me to say if they found my packet or whatever happened with my packet. And I've just been going through a lot with Mr. Cameron Isaac, to the point I have a hearing coming up in August, I believe August 10th. Like, I'm really frustrated. I can't get this man to respond to anything or help me with anything. And I think that's wrong.
Okay. Yeah, that is wrong, and we will have staff follow up with you. Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Thank you.
Sure. Next, I'm moving to Makisha Britt. Makisha Britt. *6 to unmute and accept the promotion request. Moving forward. Delphine Driver. Delphine Driver. Okay, I'll move forward. Pat Malloy. Yep. Ms. Malloy, we're sending you a promotion request and *6 if you need to be unmuted.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Ms.
Before I start my testimony, I would like to thank Andre Johnson for hosting an excellent event on May the 24th in Lincoln Heights for the residents and the residents off-site. Along with Mr. Tyree, the area manager, he was formerly the manager. Today, I am speaking on Resolution 2516. Which says to ratify submission of an application to DEMPAD for issuance of industrial revenue bonds to modernize up to 19 DCHA properties and approve intent resolution to reimburse costs for bond authorized projects. My question is, what is this resolution saying? Also, what are the 19 properties in question? You have Lincoln Heights and Richardson dwellings, 2 community properties, listed in your moving to work annual plan. Per the moving to work plan, there is no DC dollars to redevelop these two properties under NCI. DCHA is looking for funding for these properties to be developed. In 2016, there was funding. Should I be asking the mayor or DMPAD what happened to the new community funding for Lincoln Heights and Richardson dwellers? Will Lincoln Heights ever be redeveloped as promised? In Lincoln Heights, there was 440 units. Out of the 440, only 33 has been demoed. Nothing has been built. Out of the 440, you have over 20 buildings sitting vacant. They've been empty for over 10 plus years. My question to DCH is, what are you trying to say? There's no money to renovate Lincoln Heights and Richardson? Please tell me why. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Malloy. When we get to the resolution, Mr. Pettigrew will explain what the resolution is about and what's going to be covered.
I hope someone can, because right now it's very disturbing. All the hard work that I have put into this project, to me, it's a slap in the face, as well as to the ones that have been relocated. And I hate to say, if I have to, I will have to file a lawsuit against Housing and DMPAD. You have us in limbo. Thank you.
So I know I can say that DCHA is still committed to the redevelopment of Lincoln Heights. And again, we'll be getting back to you and the members of the community as we move things forward.
Next we have Linda Brown. Ms. Brown, we're sending you a promotion request. *6 to unmute. Please accept the request. Linda Brown.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Linda Brown. I am a resident of Ward 6. And I'm here today to talk about, I think the last time I spoke with this panel about coming out to the property and coming out and visiting and have those listening sessions that you've had before. Because I think it's important, not that you just give reports, but actually come out and see for yourself the lived experience of the residents as they talk to you about what's happening on these properties. So I would really like for you to revisit about coming out to the properties and having these commissioners meeting once a month on some of these properties and come out and have these listening sessions. A lot of things are changing and moving parts, and residents aren't clear on what is exactly happening with these moves and how it changes or reshape their lives. So it's very important if you could tell me when you are going to at least attempt to come back out to these properties or visit these properties for at least for some listening sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Next we have Detrice Belt. Bill, we're getting ready to send you a request to be a panelist, so please accept your promotion and *6 to unmute. Patrice Belt.
I gotta jump on. Okay, can they go to somebody else? I'm sorry. I'm not ready yet.
Okay,
Okay.
come back to Ms. Belt. Next is Karen Settles. Ms. Settles, you should have received a promotion request. *6 to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Ms. Settles, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you so much. I would like to thank as well the persons who did the event in Lincoln Heights as a successful event. I also would like to thank our director for speaking at the street naming for my mother on the 9th of May. But what I'm really here for is to talk about the testimony that I made at the city council about the Star Board. There are many questions about the Star Board that are unanswered to many residents. And one of those things is I would like to know is what are the bylaws for the Star Board? And what is the structure? Where can I find that? It is urgent that because of our change in housing authority, that we understand the dynamics or the structure as to what it works with. I yesterday had a conversation with the ombudsman's office, and I know what a structure of an ombudsman office and the purpose of it is. It just wasn't being used as the purpose that I know that it is. So I was called to find out what that I want to speak about. I would say about that is that that's putting the cart before the horse. And what we need to do is do it in the instructive way that it is supposed to be done. The ombudsman office is the last resort, not the first. And I can understand where you're trying to do prevention, but we need prevention in other matters as far as the housing authority is concerned right now. So again, I want to go back to the question. How can I obtain the bylaws for the Star Board, the purpose for the Star Board, and the structure of the Star Board? Can anybody respond to that?
When the Star Board was put in place, it was through legislation that was proposed by the mayor and passed by the city council. So that is public information and is available. And subsequent to our taking over as a Star Board, we also updated the bylaws for the board. And so while that's not generally public information, I think we can make the bylaws available.
Can I just ask, where can I obtain those from, or can they be mailed to me?
If you submit a FOIA request, we can send them to you, or we can, if we have your email, we can just send it.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think she needs it.
Could you please send me a hard copy? It's a little hard. I don't have the technology to have them emails.
We can do that.
We can do that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next, we have Donna Towns. Ms. Towns, we're sending you a promotion request.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you, Ms. Towns. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, Ms. Towns.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Donna Townsend. I'm a Parkmore resident. And I thank you all for listening to my testimony last month. And that was the first time I've been on the Board of Commissioners meetings for the whole year because perhaps some technical issues or sort. Because I tried to get on in February, March, and April, but I was unable to speak during the meeting. So I would like to ask, and then the last meeting in May, I asked for a follow-up appointment with Director Pettigrew so that I could get a resolution to the unlawful eviction of 620 Morton Street, apartment 21, where my property was bulk trucked. Although my rent was paid, I was recertified, my tenant obligations were satisfactory, but the housing manager's employee obligations were very much ignored. So first, she did no repairs or inspections, but then we're coming up on a lead abatement and everything. So the day before, she calls me and asks me to sign this lease and promised me half my stuff was going to be upstairs and half was going to be downstairs. But instead, all of my stuff, my property went over that balcony into a bulk truck. I think that was very unfair and very messing with my mind all the time. And I need a resolution to that so I can move forward with my life and stop dwelling on this each and every day. And also I'd like to thank DCHA for extending the opportunity to receive a housing choice voucher. I thank you so much, and it's in the process. I hope everything goes well. I've done the best I could do with doing all that I've been asked to do. So I thank you for that, and also thank you for the removal of that rent balance off my account after it's been on there for years. And with that balance on my account all that time, I was denied the opportunity to obtain a voucher. But I will, in the follow-up meeting, I will be able to have a better time to speak more about that all has occurred to me. So I would, Director Pettigrew, I would like to have a follow-up meeting with me, and I look forward from the last meeting, Board of Commissioners meeting, to get a call to me or a text to me regarding an appointment, but I didn't receive anything. So again, I'm asking for a follow-up appointment to bring closure to all the inactions and actions of DC Housing Park Morton Management. And Director Pettigrew, can I ask you a question? No response. Well, Director Pettigrew, I look forward to meeting with you and your staff, Ms. Whitcliffe, and the Park Morton managers that have placed me in this position to try to bring closure to all that I'm dealing with. And I thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you, Director Pettigrew and his staff, regarding a follow-up appointment. Thank you. I don't want to be penalized for not being able to speak on the board meeting to request a follow-up meeting. So I look forward to a follow-up meeting, and thank you all for listening, and I hope you understand my situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Paulette Matthews.
Hello?
Hi, Ms.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Hi, Ms. Matthews.
Hi. I'm actually on right now to ask, is it possible that we get our minutes back? Is it possible that we can start meeting in rooms opposed to doing this, what we're doing right now? So that we can get together, and as Linda was saying, and Karen, I haven't seen them in years, but we've been doing this thing for a long time, and it would be just nice to have the opportunity to be able to be in one room and y'all to visit these properties as well, because you could do a meeting at every property. Now, I understand same time, whole time, that some people might not can get around. So therefore, if the option still will be able that you could do it the way that I'm doing it or Zooming it. So can y'all really consider coming back to the roots of how this used to work? Because COVID ain't gonna go nowhere. And what's the need of being in fear when you can go on trips and all of that, but we can't seem to get in these rooms together. And the other part of this is when you know better, you're supposed to do better. And so when we have all these conversations, that would be nice to consider the fact that you're getting the information from the residents and you're still hearing sometimes the same thing. So there's got to be like a better way that we could do this. And by me being a former resident and also I was the vice president of Burry Farms, I have a lot of concerns about that. That's very rarely talked about unless somebody asks us the question. It's nice to be able to go over to the Goodman League, to the games that Miles still holds, but the fact that a lot of people have gone on and will never be able to come back to housing, and then you got some that have been gone for 15 years or more. Me personally, I've been gone for 5 years from there, but a lot of things need to be considered because it'd be very stressful for each individual that has to live this life. And to be able to have to come here and constantly repeat the same things. But I do see a lot of changes because right now I'm sitting right outside of the community room where they're actually waterproofing this community room. And Mr. Pettigrew, thank you and all your staff for that. So we are doing better. And we just need to come together as one to do so much more because we all want the same thing. Communication is the key. And sometimes a lot of balls get dropped, but they can easily be picked up if everybody will listen and understand and do what needs to be done. But I appreciate you all, and that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Matthews.
Thank you. I'm going to go back before we move with the non-resident. I want to go back to 3 residents that are now on. I'm going to go back to Rochelle Ellison. Ms. Ellison, you have 3 minutes. It's *6 to unmute.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm sorry I didn't join via video. However, I just wanted to come today and to thank Director Pettigrew and Director Shaw and all the staff at DCHA, because not only are you the directors of the organizations, you're change agents, and you're helping to change so many lives out here in the community. Like, I get emotional because we're literally, under their administration, they opened the wait list. We're walking people to their keys hand in hand. Your 3-year plan is coming together beautifully as far as the community. And I'm a person that benefits from that. I'm a housing choice voucher holder myself. And then I'm in service with the unhoused population. And I am so grateful for Director Shaw and Director Pettigrew. We don't get people in service and in administrations like that. They're the best things that's happened to Washington, D.C. in so long. I have never seen so many people get housed and walk to their keys so fast, but it's easy when you're in collaboration and your coalition partners, collaborating with people that truly care and are passionate about making a dent and a change in the community. And you're definitely doing an amazing job. I know you're up against a lot of fences. I know your back's up against a lot of walls, and you still come out swinging passionately and compassionately. And I am so grateful, along with the community members I know that I speak for. We're just really grateful to have your administration in place. So I just want to say thank you to Director Shaw and to Director Pettigrew for doing such an amazing job in making a dent in the unhoused population receiving keys. I'm out here boots on the ground. I'm in front door services, and I'm watching people's transformation of their thought process and the mind, and seeing the hope and the light come back into their eyes. And I am so grateful for all of you. And that's pretty much what I came on here to say today, because they need to be uplifted. You have to speak life into people that are doing so much for the community under such stressful situations. And for me and the community here in Washington, D.C., I just want to say thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next, I'm going to come back to former Commissioner Kenneth Council. And council? Moving forward, I'm gonna go back to the Trees Belt. Ms. Belt, we're sending you a promotion request. *6 to unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Detrice Bell. I'm the president of the Berry Farm Tenants and Allies, former resident of Berry Farm. I just want to know what's going on now on the property. I know the senior building has gone up and some residents are back in there. Um, when is the next building? I know it's another building supposed to be going up. When is that due to be finished, the multifamily building? And I know I saw something in the media saying that the houses weren't going to be done until 2030. Just want to know like some information because I got a newsletter from DCHA, but still kind of lost in the all the wording of a lot of things like the starboard. We don't know what that is. I know it was appointed by the mayor or whatnot. Um, I just want to know what's going on with the Berry Farms property. I'm still here at another property that is not DC housing property, I guess. It's another, it's private, it's or they have a partnership with you all. I'm not sure the Penrose and the residents of Hayes. And I've been here for like 6 years and I'm ready to get back to my community. I'm ready to get back to Southeast. Northeast is very challenging. My mom lives on the other side. All my family lives in Southeast, so we have to travel there and it's a lot of hardships. So just, but I want to get back into a house, not an apartment, because of like it's not enough room. And that's why I do need my storage that is there, that's in place now, but still very worried about that also. So I just want to know what's happening, how we communicate and keeping in touch with the residents and when are we going to have a meeting with the resident? I think they might. That's what I mean. Like we get some mailing or we get information and calls. Like today I had 2 calls, but I wasn't able to get on and speak with someone from housing. I don't know why they called today when I'm going to speak. That's a little intimidating. Um, I know Far Southeast possibly they had something with the residents like last week and it was like in person. We still need the in-person option and the Zoom option. A lot of these meetings, they will say it's only in person. For some people, like I said, I'm on another side of town, getting over, traveling. I'm not mobile. I'm not sure how many people are mobile and can move around. Uber's not always, feasible for everyone. So yeah, we still do need to have like all 3 options, a phone, Zoom, and in person should be the option to have residents. It shouldn't just be, oh, this is all we have. So, and I've been told that at some meetings and I wasn't able to attend. So I don't know what the capacity was for a meeting with the residents with the far southeast people. And I don't know if DCHA was there to speak on what's going on next or what's happening in Berry Farms with Berry Farm residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. I'm going to ask Director Pettigrew to just give a brief update on Berry Farms' next steps.
Well, we're into the second phase of the Edmondson, right?
Yes, the Edmondson is slated to come online November of 2026. So November of next year, 2026. And that'll be 138 rental units.
What about communication with the residents who've been relocated?
Yes, we're planning on scheduling a resident meeting this summer. We've just finished lease up for the Asbury. The team wants to get together to come up with a plan and a strategy for outreach for the next phase so that we can start to garner interest, create a site-based wait list, et cetera. So we're going to work through that process. And then we'd like to have a resident meeting over the summer to just talk about what the future development looks like, the timeline and process for when they can expect to receive information and correspondence about lease up for the next building. And I know that there's a lot of interest for the rental flats, which will be coming online in the following 2 years. Those are larger units.
Thank you.
Next, we're moving to our non-resident public comment section. First, we have Michael Cornegay. Michael Cornegay. I'm going to move forward. Next, we have Patrice Evans, or Beatrice, I'm sorry. Ms. Evans, we have sent your promotion request, *6 to unmute.
Unmute.
We hear you.
Okay. Move phone. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Beatrice Evans. I'm a public housing resident. So this is personal to me. I just attended the Lincoln Heights Rebuilding Our Community event. I lived in Lincoln Heights from 1960 to 1970 and moved to Starter Terrace in 1971. I've come full circle. At the Lincoln Heights event, I saw a lot of Black vendors, organizations, police, and DCHA workers. What I didn't see and had not seen at these events is large crowds of the community people. You got the word out to your folks. How about doing a better job getting the word out to the community people with flyers? Okay, excuse me, that phone disturbing. And okay, also to the community, I did not see groups like Empowerment DC and other organizations with their tables. DCHA, I got this written in, I lost, I'm sorry. DCHA gave out food and trinkets that I say last for a day. And when that money could have been better spent for maintenance and repairs that will last and make a difference. We want to see qualified people, professionals like Brian Kelly, who just left Triangle View Senior Building where I currently live. At 71, I have earned the pronoun Miss. And as an elder, what I'm witnessing is deplorable behavior from management staff. Our dismissing, ignoring our valid concerns. We negotiated a simple price list over a year ago. That was to no avail. And to add insult to injury, the management teams of E&G are not resident friendly. I was asked, what am I doing? Monitoring the office opening and closing, and that I could not speak for my neighbors. Well, I have been asked by tenants of Milestone and Capital Gateway, as well as other E&G properties. And as president of the Triangle View Tenant Association, I think I have that right. There's an atmosphere of fear that has been created because of the intimidating notices given by management, that our culture of socialization is now called loitering. Neighbors talking with neighbors, we're loitering. Several neighbors have been given notices that their rent has increased because of some recertification problems, and very little explanation has been given, and that they owe back rent. And these people have paid their rent on time every time. At this juncture, we're having, this is causing a lot of confusion and stress with their arbitrary enforcement of their policies. We're having a policy versus practice problem, reserving the community room here at our building. If E&G is now going to keep the $100 deposit, we want to know where the money's going. And in conclusion, I'd like to thank organizations like Empowerment DC, Karen Settles, and Ms. Malloy. And also, I think that we need more oversight from DCHA with these companies. And I'm looking forward to the new area manager I have, Rhonda Harvell. Thank you for your time.
You, Ms. Evans.
Next, we have Noel Williams. Mr. Williams, we sent a promotion request.
Can you hear me?
Oh, Ms. Williams, yes, Ms. Williams, you have 3 minutes.
All right. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Noelle Williams, a proud community member of Ward 5 and a landlord. I'm here today to raise serious concerns about the inconsistencies and systematic flaws in the DCHA inspection and oversight process. I've raised multiple inspection concerns to DCHA, but received no meaningful resolution until yesterday after speaking to Mr. Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. With each reinspection, new violations appear that were not in previous reports. This creates a moving target and leaves landlords confused and frustrated. These inconsistencies undermine transparency and raise concerns about the professionalism and integrity of the inspection process, particularly regarding the contractor Primetime. The tenant in my property has tampered with safety equipment, including removing smoke detectors to smoking doors. Yet I'm being held responsible. We have photo evidence showing the detector was in place and that is newly installed. And the newly installed sink failed inspection due to the tenant misuse, specifically using it as an ashtray. These actions jeopardize both property integrity and safety, and I, the landlord, is being unfairly penalized. The tenant has been in the same subsidized unit for over 20 years and has not paid rent in the last 2 years, and lives in other adult occupy the unit as well. Meanwhile, thousands of DC residents remain on the wait list in urgent need of housing. Section 8 was intended to provide a stability and help people become self-sufficient, not serve as indefinite housing without accountability. I respectfully request 3 actions: that future inspections at my property be conducted by a different agency or inspector with a clear and consistent standard, that the tenant's file be reviewed for ongoing ineligibility, property misuse, and lastly, the council's reconsider Section 8 reforms such as regular reevaluation of eligibility and require participation in workforce or self-sufficiency programs. In closing, I speak not just as a property owner, but as a neighbor and community member and committed to fairness. This is about creating a housing system that works for tenants, landlords, families, and everybody in DC. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams, and we'll have one of the staff follow up with you.
Next, we have Daniel Del Paliego. Daniel, I believe we just sent you a promotion request. *6 to unmute.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Daniel Vilpielago. I work with Empower DC, and we work with public housing residents around the city. This afternoon, I want to bring one very small issue. When the agenda and resolutions became available online, when I clicked on resolution 2515, it would take me to 2516. Just a few minutes ago, that was resolved, it appears, because I did click on it again and it took me onto it. But just a reminder to maybe check those links when they're posted. I did want to give some feedback on 2516, the resolution around the bonds. I'm concerned that here we are again with another huge endeavor, and I want to appreciate and not, I'm not necessarily speaking ill of the effort to fix public housing properties. I'm all for that. But here we are again with another huge endeavor that has kind of been sprung on us. I know during the oversight hearing, the budget oversight hearing, Director Pettigrew mentioned that we would have a rehab and redevelopment plan by the end of the year. So, you know, I know y'all are moving fast and doing what you can do, but this does come as a surprise when it wasn't necessarily expected. And I think that's been the problem now for several administrations, where we continue to see these type of very grandiose plans that promise a lot being presented, but oftentimes they don't come to fruition. What we've seen is, director after director leave or be pushed out before these projects can really take hold. So one major concern for me is that, that there is that this administration sees this project all the way through, and that of course there is more resident involvement than ever in and around this. I'm concerned that this is just once again a big project when what we've heard from several folks, we heard Park Morton, we heard Berry Farm, we heard Lincoln Heights, where these projects are, for many not close to being done. And here we go with another big project that promises some very good things. But once again, the proof will be in the pudding, as it were. If it gets off the ground and if it gets finished the way it should be. So I know we'll be keeping an eye on this. We look for more engagement with residents and the community. I know we are in good contact with the Housing Authority. Shout out to Director Shaw. Shout out to some of the other staff that have been helpful in some situations that have been just happening. And so it's not my, as I close, it's not my intent to be on the other side, but just kind of being cautious and hoping that we can work together to make sure that we get something that works. So thank you for the opportunity this afternoon.
Thank you, Daniel. I think your comments are certainly insightful, and we all know promises have been made in the past and were not delivered on. So I think as we talk through this new project and new process, I think you're going to be convinced that this is in fact different, and this administration will see it through.
Chairman, that concludes your testimony for today.
Okay, I want to thank everyone who presented testimonies, and for those where we mentioned there's a follow-up from the staff. You can look forward to that happening quickly. Okay, next we're going to go to committee reports and handling of the resolutions, and we have 3 resolutions before us today. And I'm going to start with the Operations and Administrative Services Committee. Commissioner Jones is chair of that, who's with us virtually, I believe. Now I don't see her.
Commissioner Jones has indicated that her sound is not working. She's having some technical difficulties, so she asked me to support. I am assuming procurement, Jean is actually doing the presentation, but I'm happy to report out on the discussion that we had in the committee.
So
2514. Yep.
Jean? Yes, I'm here. Hello, Commissioner Skinner and Commissioner Silla and all of the other commissioners. I am presenting 2 resolutions today. The first will be Resolution 2514. And Resolution 2514 is to authorize the execution of a contract for recycle collection services. This resolution covers the first tranche of properties to kick off DCHA's recycling initiative. I will not reread the resolution for purposes of time. I will now open the floor up for questions.
Yes,
Go ahead, Commissioner Silla.
Well, it's not questions as much as a report out on the discussion and some of the issues that we highlighted or the concerns that we highlighted that Jean helped address for us.
Okay.
First and foremost, it's the number of bidders. We only had 2 bidders. Jean, of course, explained the extensive outreach that they had done and the ways in which that she is working to improve outreach so that when the next tranche of buildings are bid, we can expect to get better response. We were also concerned about, or actually Commissioner Jones was especially concerned about the dollar value of the contract. She thought that the winning bid maybe was too low for the number of properties, the number of pickups that were involved, but Jean reassured us that this is a vendor that has extensive experience with the DC Housing Authority, is currently doing collections and therefore understands the scope of the work that is ahead of them.
Okay, with that, can we get a motion to approve resolution 25-14, contract for recycling collection service?
Motion.
There's a second.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Sella,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones, I understand we have you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Blackson,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
thank you. Chairman Skinner,
Yes.
resolution approved.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Next, we're going to go to resolution 25-15. This is to authorize contract for body worn cameras.
I
Thank
think
you.
let's.
Go
yeah,
ahead, I'm
there-
sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Silla, I'm sorry.
I was literally about to defer to you, so you're right.
No, thank you. Again, resolution 25-15 is to authorize the execution of a contract for body worn cameras and taser systems and services that will be required to maintain the systems. This resolution comes from our public safety OPS department. And I'm just going to give you a brief description of the scope of what we will be purchasing. It includes 100 body worn cameras and related accessories, 100 tasers, unlimited cloud-based storage and evidence sharing platform, and then the integration, maintenance, technical support, and training services that will be required to satisfy the needs for OPS. I will now open the floor for questions.
I think Commissioner Jones, would you rather do the summary now that your voice is working? Well, or your volume, sorry, the sound, I'm so sorry. Maybe not, so let me also summarize the discussion. I think we were pleased to see that tasers were being deployed, something that is non-lethal weapons, or something that's not lethal, I think was something that we were delighted to see. Body cameras in the same vein as well. We did have some conversation with the chief about what comprises the number, the size and scope of his team to ensure that this was going to be an adequate number of body cameras and tasers. And so there was a robust discussion. We were very happy with the answers that were offered. So that's my recollection, Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, the other part that we added was the training. We wanted to ensure that everybody was properly trained and frequently trained so that there would be no incidents of a misuse of the tasers. And they also shared with us the difference in who would actually have the body cameras and the tasers, which would be actually the armed forces opposed to the security guards themselves. But the armed force are those that will have the body cameras and the tasers. Over.
Okay, so
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
And Amy, maybe this is a question for you. I know the city has a pretty robust law around governing footage of body worn camera, how it's released and things like that. Do we fall under that policy? I mean, does that apply to us? And if not, it seems like we need one. I mean, we're gonna need one, something will happen, and it's better to, do it when it's not fix a roof when it's not raining. So I just don't know where that stands.
Chief.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I need to double check about
Whether
what we
follow.
follow, yeah, because I don't,
Reese.
but I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
I mean,
I mean, one would
irrespective.
be to just adopt the city policy. It sort of feels like a safe harbor.
And if I can add to that too, to consider
Oh, there-
was, I know when MPD implemented body worn cameras, there was the cost associated with redacting the video that had not been taken into consideration. Because there was a cost, and at one time it was relatively significant. I don't know since then, whether or not, I think they found some ways to address that, but that's something also to consider.
Chief is on now. Did you hear the question?
Yeah, I heard it. So, great questions, and thank you for taking this under consideration. So yes, we would adapt the industry standard that's already been established by the Metropolitan Police Department.
She set me up. Pearl said, Pearl straight up.
Hello?
It's Sean looking at me like this. I said, Sean.
Sean, it's terrible. I love Sean. And I think
He's like, man.
Okay, so I'll try it again. So thanks again, everybody. Yeah, so this just to give a little history. This body worn camera was established by the NEAR Act in 2016, which mandated the Housing Authority to be one of the agencies that get body worn cameras, and it definitely adds towards transparency. Uh, the escalators are an excellent de-escalation tool, as we discussed earlier. So we will follow the already established practices by Metropolitan Police Department and use that as the primary benchmark. But since we're probably the last agency in the region to get them, we already have a good industry standard out there and a good benchmark. But we would definitely use already established policies, in particular in the District of Columbia, since we overlap with the Metropolitan Police Department.
Could I just maybe ask at the next board meeting if we could just get a formal clarification on what our policy is, and if the board needs to adopt something or something like that. And I think I just would feel better knowing we know what the rules are before we head into this.
Yeah, we're gonna a lot of times we benchmark, just use the Metropolitan Police Department. So we haven't written a policy, but our policy is on track to mirror theirs. The docking stations, the offices, we coincide with their agency all the time. So that's just the easiest benchmark, and use also the maintenance of such as well.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
Right, and I mean, typically we don't release this footage. We don't release footage unless there's a subpoena for, like, I mean, this is what we do with our videos as well.
But
But so for them-
right, but
Yeah.
MPD requires certain disclosures on certain timelines, and I just don't want us to get in a situation where something bad happens and we're like, what should we do? And we don't want to decide it on a particular incident, right? We want to have a generalized policy beforehand, and that we're all clear about it.
No, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 25-15, a contract for body worn cameras and tasers.
Commissioner Harris, motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? If not, then we'll take a roll call vote.
Perfect. Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Blackson?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Silla?
Yes.
Thank you. Chairman Skinner?
Yes.
Thank you. Your resolution is approved.
Okay, so I'm going to go through with the other committee reports before we get to resolution 25-16, because that's going to take some discussion. Anyway, I'm going to start with Capital Projects Committee, Commissioner Murphy.
I believe we spent the last bit of our meeting talking about the IRB issue, so we may want to defer that. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. If you don't have any other.
I don't think we're ready to. Yeah, I think we've got some other exciting projects in the works, but we're just not quite ready to share.
Okay, the Budget and Audit Committee. I don't think Commissioner Reed is not here. Commissioner Clay, I don't know if you can report on that.
Sure. So we had a discussion about follow-up to the OIG audit, that some procurements have been made for some of the work to clear up some of the prior year balances. So they've awarded contracts to BDO to both do some reconciliations for prior year balances, as well as do fee accounting for the small entities. Also, they awarded a contract to Baker Tilly for comprehensive risk assessment on the housing authority. They expect to have kickoff and schedule, and the work should be beginning this month for all three of those. So that's great to hear. I know that for the district, the housing authority was part of a meeting a couple of weeks ago to kick off the city's audit for the ACFR, which also includes the audit that OIG has for the housing authority. So that is going to start kind of kicking in as well very soon. We also talked a little bit about the budget to actual. When we looked at the budget to actual report, we noted that, or it was noted that when the budget was prepared, there were a number of unknowns. So the budget was, there were some areas where the budget was probably a little higher. So to date, we have outperformed the budget for revenue and expenses. So we're doing very well. Additionally, we heard a report about the internal audit, the audit and compliance report on Garfield Residents Council, and so we had some discussion around that as well. And that's all that I have.
Okay, great, thank you. And then the Resident Services Committee, Commissioner Blackson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The Committee on Resident Services, the last two meetings, we focused on residents and the ACOP policy and move to work plan, just things that residents can share their voice on, get educated on, and the impact of what these policies would do with residents. As the chair, I've been very focused on my initiative that you hear me speak a lot about, which is the Block by Block, which is an educational and engagement opportunity for the leaders, which they take back into their communities. And these sessions, I'm often hearing the residents speak on and resident leaders how they don't have enough time to speak with the directorate team and things and opportunities. They would like more time even at the board meetings. So during these engagement at the Block by Block, they have a time to engage with Director Pettigrew and his directorate team, as well as have educational opportunities from different sources like Stop the Bleed, First Aid, CPR, mental health, healing and relaxation methods, from the stressors that they state are happening in their communities. And I just want to thank Director Pettigrew and the directorate team for always being open monthly to speak with leaders and allow them that time to share their concerns with them and look for answers that best fit the residents' concerns. So, I hear you residents. I tell them my activities, meetings, and educational sessions to meet your needs. I know we're not actually actively having the big sessions that you would like, but this is one way that we can hear from you. You share with your leader bring it to us, and we share with the directorate team until we can open them sessions again. I listen to take action. You may not always hear me real vocal here, but that doesn't mean that I'm less educated or not understanding the need of the residents, because I too was a resident. So I want you to know, please reach out to me if you need me. Again, I'm Commissioner Blackson, Chair of the Committee on Resident Services, and I can be reached at 202-250-4451. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Blackson. Great.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now we're going to go to Resolution 2516, and several of the people providing testimony raised this issue, and this is regarding the DCHA taking on a major new initiative that will entail the district or DMPED issuing bonds to fund the renovation of up to 19 DCHA properties. And I'm going to ask Director Pettigrew to kick it off, and I know David Cordiello, who's our consultant to DCHA, will chime in with some.
And I want to say something too.
Okay, before. So you want to start first, or?
Sure, maybe that makes more sense. So yeah, because I want to sort of frame it from a board
Frame the board,
perspective,
right,
and then you all can get into. I think one of the things I think it's important for folks to know is that the board has been very encouraging of the staff to be looking at our full portfolio and thinking about how do we make sure that we are offering our residents great places to live. And we've been doing that for years, since this board has been in place and even before this team has gotten here. The great thing about the team is that they have really taken that challenge to heart. And although lack of federal resources and limited local resources, as grateful as we are for those local resources, they are limited. And what it has meant is that the team has said to us, to be honest, there isn't enough money out there to do all of the work that we would like to do. And so we have said, well, how do we get creative? How do we sharpen our pencils? What new tools are out there? What can we do differently so that we just don't accept the status quo? And the team has been nothing short of extraordinary in really doing just that and being creative, thinking about tools that we haven't traditionally used, but finding ways that we can start to move the needle on a category of properties that are appropriate for certain tools, because certain tools are more appropriate for some properties than others. One of the tools is the one that we're going to talk about today, which is industrial revenue bonds. It's a tool that the agency hasn't necessarily had a lot of experience with, but the team has given us great confidence that we can get up to speed on it and that we can figure out how to deploy it. We also, I want to address the fair concern that sort of people, some folks out there may not fully know about this. One of the challenges we face is there's lots of moving parts here, including having to send this through the council. And there basically was no way for us, you have to start somewhere. And no matter where you start in communicating about this, it's imperfect. So we knew that this was going to come as a surprise to some folks. And, that's not something we want, but I do think it was somewhat inevitable to some degree. And so it's not that, we've been trying to keep it a secret or whatnot, but we've been having to follow the council process to get this initiative authorized and are happy to sort of publicly talk about it some today. And I know that we will be talking about it more in the months ahead. And I guess the last thing I would say is, we think that the $700 million that we're asking for will allow us to address up to 19 properties. Those will have to be, we won't do all 19 at once. We'll have to sort of stagger those. We have some work to do before we know which of those 19 properties make the final list and which of the however that staggering has to go. That will take some time. We've got to think of a lot of different factors to figure that out. And there's no point in sharing draft lists because things could change and we don't want to do that. The other very important piece is that I know the team is very committed to doing robust resident engagement and has really given quite a lot of thought to how that occurs, starting with our resident councils and then on to all the residents in the properties. And so we'll need a little bit of time to roll that out. And I appreciate the team's eagerness to do that. And one reason we are trying to move quickly is because we're trying to get the work started so that the work can get done and that people can have better places to live. So that's just sort of from the committee's perspective. I'm now happy to turn it over to the director and David can kind of fill in the blanks.
So thank you, Commissioner Murphy. I think that's a really good way of framing the discussion, and you took the words right out of my mouth.
Really, you really went there with that one. I was going to say the same thing. But thank you, first of all, Commissioner Murphy, for that. And one thing I do want to emphasize is we hear the residents loud and clear with regard to the communication, and Daniel's been a great partner with regard to them, the stuff being dropped on them. And I can understand their concern and their skepticism about the urgency of this dropping now. But what I want to say to the residents that we will be doing outreach immediately, but it was the timing of the whole events that we weren't necessarily fully aware of that brought us to this point, and we really can't afford to miss out on this opportunity because of that. I'm fully committed to meet with the residents, sit down and walk them through the process. As Commissioner Murphy indicated, we still have a ways to go in terms of identifying the full 19 properties. We've thrown some things around, but still we have to sort of finalize and crystallize those numbers based on some conversations with the committees and the commissioners in general. I think we had a pretty decent discussion last week with regard to some of the ideas, and we've heard you loud and clear. And we will come back to you all with the list of recommended properties first for us to move forward. But this is more about the timing of everything and making sure that we are allowed to take advantage of this tool. One of the things that struck me immediately when I hit the door a year and a half ago is that, we needed to find new ways of funding projects and moving them quickly, whether it be rehab, potential rehab, or whether it be redevelopment. And obviously we've gone down the Section 18 road and we have no idea where we're going to come out with that now, given timing and everything else that's happened. And obviously we know that the market in and of itself has some challenges within it. And so we thought that this was one of the best ways for us to now try to put something forward that we could do relatively quickly. But also importantly, take care of our residents in a relatively quicker time than we've seen in the past. And so we approached DCHA about it a while ago. And ironically, it was about something else. It was about all the tax credits. Right. And then when we realized those were run out, we said, okay, let's flip it to bonds. So we have been trying to think of ways to take care of this portfolio and take care of our residents. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David, let him walk you through the resolution and some other points that need to be made.
So just let me say one more thing before we get to David, and that is, so in terms of how we got to where we are today, so in essence, what you're saying, Keith, is we weren't driving this train, so to speak, but we have to get on board.
Yes.
So all of the technical issues and the processes that we have to go through, because DMPED is the issue, will be issuing the bonds.
Yes.
So we really had to follow their lead.
Yes.
And there are certain steps that they had to go through. And oftentimes we were kind of caught off guard in terms of having to do a quick turnaround.
Yes.
To get things to DMPED. So again, I'm just emphasizing, it's not that we were trying to delay or not be transparent in terms of what we were doing, but things just happened very quickly. And again, as Commissioner Murphy, I want to just thank the staff and commend the staff for a great deal of work, but also just being able to keep up and to, again, get on that train and make sure that we didn't get left behind.
Yes, thank you. Yes. You're up to.
The resolution accomplishes three things that are very important before we issue the bonds. First, it ratifies the application that we submitted to them back on February 19th of this year. Committee members that asked, hey, do we need a resolution on this? DMPED is learning, we're learning, everyone's learning simultaneously, because this is the first time something like this has been done with the housing authority. So therefore, once, as you say, Chairman Skinner, is that once we were told we needed a resolution, that's why we pivoted quickly and brought it to your attention, and then that's where we are with this. So we're all learning simultaneously, and it's a good process to be able to go through. It's hard to pivot constantly, but hey, that's the way the world works. If you think about it, and what led us to exploring alternative financing was the market itself. I mean, you have essentially, not my words, not anybody else's words, but you essentially have financial institutions redlining the district or disinvesting from the district. Then we need to come up with a solution. In the past, the solution has only been limited to the redevelopment. Let's get the next Hope 6, or like the Choice Grant, or let's get new community initiatives. Let's do mixed finance, a PUD. Let's increase density. Let's do all these things. But we know it takes a long time, and we know the development cycle for each one of those components is a long time. And we could point to a lot of properties where the residents are frustrated for not having the ability to return yet because we haven't finished the development. So the market drove us then to say, let's figure something out. Let's look at new alternative methods, things we hadn't considered before. And also, let's take a look at the other side of the redevelopment coin, which is how do you stabilize and preserve properties? And that's what we looked at. And many times the preservation and stabilization of properties has solely been capital expenditure, meager as they are, change windows here this year, and 3 years from now, change a roof or this, but not doing anything comprehensively. This allows us to be able to come in and do a comprehensive modernization where we invest well over $100,000 per unit to be able to go in there, fix the units, but also fix the building envelopes and also fix the site issues that are affecting our properties. Stormwater management and settlement of the sites, green areas that are not functioning. Amenity space that has been abandoned or not used and not programmed. So there are a lot of factors that go into this, and that's what we're exploring. The second part of the resolution speaks to before the bonds are issued, we have expenses. And the bonds will cover those expenses, but the board needs to approve a resolution saying that we will seek from the bonds expenses. What are the expenses that we're incurring right now? There are two things. Immediately to lay the foundation for moving forward. We have design contracts, A&E contracts with design firms so that we can start taking a look at what do we have at the properties, what are the kinds of finishes, the plans, the specs, the things like that, that eventually have to be submitted for permits so we can start the renovation on these properties. So we're spending money on that. We're spending money also on consultants to be able to assist us walk through multiple RAD conversions simultaneously. We know that the HUD is slowed down quite a bit as a result of changing federal policies. And what we have to do is be a lot more creative. And we brought in a consultant, we procured a consultant that is going to assist us through that process. And there'll be other expenses that we will be incurring prior to the issuance of the bond. The third is that the way that we structured the finances for the property, it's almost like taking a look at if we were to go to the banking, to the banks themselves, that they require a certain amount of investment of the housing authority or the owner, the property owner, as part of the contribution towards the renovation. So what we're saying is, just like if we were to buy a house that we need to put in equity, our down payment, we have to, what we're saying is that we're looking to the housing authority to invest $70 million in this effort, where we would get $700 million from the bonds to be able to invest. How does this all work? Is if we change the operating subsidy, we manage our expenses, that we have enough money to be able to pay off the bonds from each one of the different properties where we invest. So it's taking a look at simply as good owners of property and stewards of public money, how do we make sure that we are protecting our investments? More importantly, how do we fix the units? And in these properties where we've invested capital funds, but how we finish doing what we started instead of having the residents wait years and years to be able to get the kinds of finishes that we're forecasting that we can do in a shorter time period instead of waiting decades for their properties to be completed.
Okay. Questions from the board members? Any of the board members who are virtual have questions? Okay, if there are none, then
there's one thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Clay.
There's one thing that I did want to note. It's in the resolution, but I think it's something to consider also when we talk about timing. Is there is discussion about IRS rules and tax law potentially changing in terms of whether or not these bonds will long-term continue to be tax exempt. As the House and the Senate is looking at tax rules if these bonds were no longer tax exempt, then that would drive up interest rates and it would be more of a challenge. So I think that's another reason why it is important that that we do have to move quickly on this as well.
Good point. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 25-16 to ratify submission of application to DEMPAD for the issuance of our industrial revenue bonds. And this to act as this as our official intent for reimbursement of costs incurred before the bonds are issued.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Sure. Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Silla?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Blackson?
Yes.
Thank you. Chairman Skinner?
Yes.
Thank you. Your resolution approved.
Okay, thank you. Again, this is a very exciting initiative and you know, I think it's really going to result in our residents getting much nicer housing, better places to live, and hopefully that it doesn't take too long. We're going to move as expeditiously as possible to get these done.
Can I ask a clarifying question, David, or of David, which is in terms of board approvals? So two questions. When you're ready to issue the first tranche of bonds, will the board need to approve sort of each tranche separately, or have we authorized you to now do that on your own?
No, separately, and it's
Okay.
good practice. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you want to take a look at what are the properties in the first series.
Right.
You want to see our underwriting, our ability to forecast both income for the properties and expenses, and therefore also what we're investing in the property, our ability to repay those bonds. So each tranche you'll get it back.
Great.
And it'll be publicly presented, and in that way, the public also understands what we're trying to.
And that's the latter point I want to hit is that there's an opportunity. We're not going to be doing anything in the dark of night. This will be very transparent. People will be aware of it, and it will be followed by robust resident engagement.
And just another point of clarification, a couple times in the discussion said referred to we are going to issue bonds. We DCHA will not be issuing
Yes,
bonds.
that's a good clarification.
Not yet.
It will be DC housing.
So it's a DEMPED, technically DEMPED.
Technically DEMPED
is the issue. Right.
DEMPED is the issuer. We'll work through DEMPED. There's a cost associated with that. But if we were as Commissioner Sealer said, if we were to issue bonds ourselves, the costs would be reduced. So we're continuing to explore. I mean, this is not.
Yeah, I mean,
the end all, and that's
that's a discussion for another day, right? That's the next one, right? Okay. Okay, anything else? Commissioners' time. We'll go around, ask if any commissioners have or comments. We'll start with Commissioner Sullivan.
I have a number, so thank you for your, yes, I do. So thank you for your.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. So I want to thank you in advance for your patience.
Okay.
First and foremost, I wanted to echo and I wanted to reflect back to the resident who flagged the call for town halls and listening sessions.
Right.
You know, those town halls and listening sessions, sometimes the way that they're designed don't actually allow us as board members to really get to know residents and to speak with residents in a way that is more free-flowing. And so I greatly appreciate the invitation from the director to a number of events so that we can build relationships with the residents. And I personally plan on, for example, attending the DCHA Fatherhood Initiative that's scheduled for this Friday, and also the Rebuilding Our Communities at Kelly Miller and LaDroit Park. And so I wanted to definitely recognize that as a board member, I do see this gap and hole, and that we are, you know, to the extent that we can, we can fill in this gap and make sure that we are interacting with residents. And so I also urge other board members to join us as your schedule allows. So we hear you, you know, there's lots of opportunities for us to take action on this front. Now I do, to the actual concerns, right? So that I just wanted to echo that I heard that, and I will personally make sure that I'm doing my level best. I wanted to flag that at the behest of the Veterans Administration, the district is working on a surge event to get veterans off our streets. We greatly need the support of the DC Housing Authority. We have 20 veterans in particular that are currently on our streets that are that we would like to match to HUD-VASH vouchers, or that have already been matched to HUD-VASH vouchers. We want to be in planning in concert with you to make sure that we have pre-inspected units and ways in which to make sure that we have a successful event. The event will be planned for July 15th. And so you're hearing outreach from me. You will get outreach from the Veterans Administration as well as HUD headquarters. And so I wanted to flag to you that this is an important initiative that we are pulling together, and we would greatly appreciate your support.
Two questions. What is the event itself? Is you're outreaching to the veteran?
It is called Get Veterans Off Our Streets.
Okay.
We meet weekly as the ICH Veterans Now work group. We have identified 20 unsheltered veterans that we think we can get off the streets. We want to work to ensure we are, you know, when you get the attention of somebody who's residing on the streets, and we are working towards getting their attention at this event and making sure that we have all of the ducks in a row to enroll them and to support them with finding units.
Okay, and second, Nicole, how many VASH vouchers do we have? Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, these are veterans that are already matched, or that we know we have the resources to match.
When you
These are
say
not
match, what do you mean match?
So we use specific terminology in homeless services, and so maybe it might also be helpful for me to follow up directly with you all to let you know how we look at it from our side, as we are working with the veterans with the VA, the CRCC, to make sure that we are not allocating any vouchers that you do not have available. So these are available.
Is they have vouchers?
Yes, we are working. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what match means.
Yes. Yes. So when a voucher is available, we identify and prioritize people based on the length of time that they're experiencing homelessness. And then we work with them once they are matched to help them through the lease up process.
Okay. So you say so I dealt with a lot of VASH vouchers in New Orleans after Katrina.
Okay.
And the biggest part of it was not issuing the vouchers, was sort of maintaining the casework to keep them in a good space in order for them to continue to live in the units with the vouchers. And just, so you say other organizations are going to be providing the casework and the counseling that they're going to need?
Absolutely. And maybe this is an opportunity for me to come to meet with you and explain to you the ICH infrastructure, all of the partners that we are working with, because this is in concert with the CRCC, it's the Community Referral Resource Center that's on Rhode Island Avenue. And yes, so this is with the SSVF providers, this is with the case managers at the VA, and we definitely want and need your support and presence at that level to make sure that this event is successsul. It is a federal push. And so I wanted to let you know that you're gonna get a lot of requests and escalations. And so you've been
a lot of requests, Nicole.
you have been forewarned.
Vacation.
Expect it.
We'll be there.
Okay.
We'll be
17.
Okay.
7 VASH.
How many? 100?
107.
107. Okay.
Okay. So the other thing is I want to, in addition to the thanks that Ms. Rochelle gave to Director Pettigrew and Director Shaw, I especially want to highlight the Ombudsman, Wayne. He has been, his attention and diligence, his kindness and understanding has been an antidote to what one of our residents flagged, a lack of responsiveness from the front line. And so I am very excited and thankful that we are about to do that program review. But I think that there are, I have been involved and in at least one case, but I want to echo that what I saw is exactly, I think, mirrors what I think it was Miss Sabrina flagged in her testimony. And I would like for us to really hone in at our committee level. So just so you have a heads up, when our committee meets, I'm going to really be looking towards performance management, especially in the HCPP department, and how it is that we are addressing issues with programs specialists and program managers that are not being responsive, that are not providing consistent guidance with the policies and procedures of the Housing Authority. I really want to hone in on training and professional development, especially around trauma-informed services and customer care. People experiencing homelessness have a lot of baggage. They're literally walking around with their lives in bags, you know, and that creates a lot of stress for our clients. And there is a level, a way of communication that is and customer service that is not what we are seeing on the ground. And so I really want us to be focused in this area. I think there is a role for communication here. And so I really urge us to walk with Allison to make sure that there is transparency on the website around what the process is, what the steps are, so that all of us in partnership can make sure we are holding the front line accountable. So I really want and urge your support in that area. So that's my second to last issue. No, that was 3. That was 3. All right. So my last is I want to, I especially given the current budget for the district and the foreseeable future of the district, given federal funding that's available, given the way the Congress has interfered with our local budget, I really urge, and this is my public comment to the admin and the ACOP, since it is still in public comment, that we need some kind of homeless or continuum of care preference. I need to, I really need to understand how it is we can accommodate this preference. And I also want to flag to you that I am going to be very diligent in escalating the need for this kind of preference in my across my infrastructure, which includes my chair, the city administrator, which includes council members Robert White and council member Pruman. And I do not want you to be blindsided by that. I want to be very transparent with you that this is an urgent matter for the district.
Hey, any of the commissioners online have any comments, concerns they want to bring up?
I
No?
have a comment, Commissioner Blackson.
Yes.
Yes, I want to shout out the Chief Reese. I had the opportunity this past Sunday to attend an event with the kids from Potomac Gardens going to the Harriet Tubman Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. I mean, not Baltimore, in Maryland. It was a great opportunity to see the kids engage and engage and learn about Harriet Tubman. So I enjoyed that. I also want to shout out to the DCHA staff. I'm sorry I didn't get to attend the Revitalizing Community event last month. I usually attend that every year. All the different sites. I happen to have my own sustainable clothes swap on that day, and just want to thank all of the DCHA staff that made any donations or contributed in any way to the sustainable clothes swap. And I look forward to seeing residents at the Family Fun Day this weekend. That was a great opportunity, and I hope you can join us one day. One of the commissioners, my fellow commissioners, I hope you can join some of these events. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Clay.
Sure. I have three things, but they'll be. First, I neglected to mention, and thank you to Commissioner Murphy for reminding me. One other thing that's happening in the Accounting Budget Committee is they're still going through the single audit. And the single audit is due June 30th, so we may have to have another brief meeting to approve the audit. So we'll be waiting to hear what that timeline will look like. Two other things. One is I just want to thank the team and Carla for last month. I mentioned it would be great if we had a list of all of the upcoming events. And after that, I saw my calendar flooded with events, but I think it's great. I won't be able to make any of the upcoming the next couple of weeks, but I think it's great to have, and I think that as Commissioner Silla said, I think it's great for us to be able to come out when we can, and so I think it's really helpful to have that information. So thank you for that. My last point was just also to commend some of the work that Commissioner Blackson is doing, and all of her initiatives that she's doing for her committee. I think they are really some great programs that she's working on and leading. And I just want to encourage. I have not been able to support any of them, so but my plan is to do so, and I want to encourage others to do the same. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, one last chance. Okay, if there are no other comments, the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, at 1 p.m. in the afternoon via Zoom. Information regarding viewing or participating in the meeting can be found at www.dchousing.org. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
The second. Second. Okay, with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 2:47 p.m. Thank everyone for their participation.